Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. The Her Version podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle and triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Betsy Abrams. Betsy is the founder of Five Wellbeing, which has raving reviews on all platforms I checked as being a world-class experience in the world of spas. I literally, while going through this, I'm going off script a little bit. When I was going through your reviews, I was like, I need to go to this place.
You totally do. You need to come.
For real. I'm checking plane tickets. I'm like, is it worth it just for a spa day? I don't know. But it looks amazing. Really does. Everything you would expect from a spa and so much more. Betsy has experimented with many methods of self-care in her lifetime, but it was not until the passing of her husband from pancreatic cancer that she uncovered a real need for nurturing our culture. Today, we are going to be talking about life, lost love, self-care, and the importance of following your heart and letting the universe guide you. Welcome, Betsy.
Thank you, Sabrina.
When your husband, first of all, why did your husband get diagnosed with something the matter?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was actually on a trip and he thought he had diverticulitis because he's had that before and he kind of felt like his similar symptoms and he took himself to the hospital. I wasn't in town. My daughter was like 5 and my neighbor calls me and says, "Oh, we've got Hannah. Don't worry. We know Dean's in the hospital." I'm like, "What?" and and they just it wasn't diverticulitis. It was pancreatic cancer. And it's a hidden disease, as most, if you know anything about it.
Yeah.
He went through a surgery and we thought that it was an isolated tumor, and when they opened him up, it had metastasized in little specks all over.
Wow.
So he was with us for 15 months. We had a few really good months, and and I had a lot of support from his family, and he's got 2 daughters from a previous marriage, who are still in my life and love me to this day. Daily, weekly conversations, and
Oh, I love that.
I'm a bonus grandma. One of the girls has 2 little ones, so they call me BG for bonus grandma.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
So it's actually been pretty joyful, as painful as it was.
Yeah.
I have a new family, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you get, besides your family support, did you seek out anything regarding dealing with somebody who's ailing from cancer, like a book
Um,
or a mentor or a therapist?
I did. I belong to a Science of Mind church, which is practitioners, and I had some assistance from there, from USM, from the school I went to. We had a few of those mentors that were involved, and a lot of them were actually working with my husband too, like, and just being there with him and doing daily, prayer or positive intention work, and just kind of helping him through it. And he wanted to have those people for himself too. And you know I mean, people just show up, I have to say. If you let them, people will show up.
We have a question. What is science of the mind?
Oh, okay. Hi, Dane. Science of Mind is a kind of like one of the New Thought religious organizations. They a lot that it's all faiths belong. Most people that maybe have that want to believe in something bigger than them, but don't want it to be a specific dogma or, religious protocol. Um, and there's another church called the Unity Church that is similar, but they're basically new thought churches.
Beautiful. And that's you're in Colorado, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're all over the place, but yeah, the one I go to is Mile High, and they have lots of cool speakers like Joe Dispenza and Wayne Dyer when he was alive, and different. Those are the types of thinking that they sort of embrace.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued to ask this question after you're talking about this, and also just you've encountered the passing of your husband, which not everyone goes through that.
Mm-mm.
But what do you think is the meaning of life?
The meaning of life is to find your true purpose. And what I mean by that isn't a job or what you do for a living. Your purpose is how you show up and who you are to the rest of the world. I happen to know my purpose is networking and connecting people. Um, I um, I enjoy being a conduit for people to find what they need. I can't provide it necessarily, but I can I can give them the right direction for it. So I think the meaning of life is to fully live in who you are, and not focus on what you do. You
Yeah.
know, you can be a garbage truck driver, but if you are happy and you live your life from purpose, you know, it, we need garbage truck drivers.
Yeah,
Can you
totally.
imagine
I
if
agree.
labor shortage, if we just didn't have people to pick up our garbage, we would all be like, hello,
Yes.
you know. I mean, we
Yes.
we can do without like maybe an extra Starbucks person, but garbage truck drivers, no, no,
Yes.
no.
Yes, I agree. When did you find out about your purpose? When did you come to that realization?
Yeah, I've as I mentioned, I'm a seeker. I've done a lot of interpersonal work, and I used to think what I did was who I was, and I learned over and over and over and over to really find out who you are in the world, not what you do. And I think it was just a series of when you hear something, read something, I always say, I saw the movie, read the book, went to the class, had the session, and I've done all those things. And sometimes you hear it from 5 or 6 different places and you're like, oh, okay, now I'm going to like focus on this. And I think if anybody's heard that before, that this might be your chance to like, just say, okay, it's not about whether I'm a doctor, a lawyer, even a parent. It's like, who are you to those people that you serve?
Yes. Oh, that's so interesting. So your purpose is to connect people.
And network, and yeah, and be that network and that connector for people. I mean, a lot of my friends all my life, it says, you should do like one of those Angie's books. People call me for the weirdest things, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I know somebody, or you should do this, or and it's not like I'm an expert in anything. I'm, you know what it is? I'm like I'm an early adopter. So do you know what that means?
Like a doer, like you
Well, I
see
will try
something, you
things.
do right away.
No, I will try things before anybody else will. I'll be like, "Oh, that's cool. I wanna do that." And then I'll do it and I'll go, "Oh, well, meh," or I'll go, "Oh, wow." And that's where my whole spa got created
Wow.
because I wanted different things. We do different things at my spa. That I've had industry leaders that have been in the business for 30 years come into my spa and go, this is different. Like these are
Wow.
people that know the business. And the reason is because I would try things. I mean, I love gadgets. I love, classes. I like books. I do, whatever's new and interesting. That's why I know things because I will try them first because I'm curious. So
That's
that's an early adopter. That's what in the marketing world, that's what they call me.
So who taught you this? Like, where does this come from? Mom, dad, lineage of like being a seeker and trying new things?
Mhm.
Where does that come from?
Yeah. I want to say, I mean, I've thought about this many times, and although I grew up pretty in a modest, family. I was the fifth, the baby of five girls, and my mom was like, she was always coming up with something, like it almost always had to do with her health because she had arthritis and she was overweight and she was always trying something new or doing something different. And I think I just sort of was like, oh, okay, like, oh, that sounds cool, or I should do that, or, and I think it was just maybe being around her.
Mm.
But then also just, I think a lot of times it's innate in people. If you're a seeker, um, you're going to be looking. And the other thing is personally, I'm not afraid to try things.
Yeah.
I'm just not afraid to. And some people are. Some people need to like know all the details of things, and that's just their personality, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
It's just who I am. It's like I don't have like a whole lot of trust issues.
Yeah. I'm very similar to that. My parents always say, I don't know where you came from. Like everything you're doing is just so out from what we are or what we taught you. Like
Right.
you don't
Right.
even know how you ended up the
Yeah.
way you ended up.
How
So
cool
that's
is how
interesting.
cool is that though, huh?
Yeah. Um, but I have a hard time with that, the whole nature versus nurture thing. It's like
Mhm.
I don't know if I feel like it did come from, like I blame a lot of it on just the fact that we were always doing something.
Mm,
Hispanic background, so we're just innately like workhorses. We're constantly
mhm,
working. So it's just instead of like physical working, which is what I did growing up, I use my mental
mhm,
capacity working. So I don't know. That's interesting. That's
mhm. Yeah,
interesting. I appreciate that
yeah.
that concept.